It's day 23 of the Advent calendar, my friends. Yesterday we talked about mission types, environments, and human error. Today we'll talk about the character pool, customization, and getting your head.
The time has come to reclaim our world. Welcome back, Commander.
Incoming transmission.
Day 23, strategy, the character pool. So the character pool is something that each XCOM installation will have its own. It's a way to provide customized soldiers for the game to draw on when it generates soldiers, good VIPs, dark VIPs, scientists, engineers, all of that. It's going to be a huge thing for people who like even mild levels of role-playing and, you know, character customization. And it's definitely worth knowing how it works because I think it could be a lot of fun. And a lot of people have some great ideas already and people are dying to get their hands on it. Some people are probably going to spend their first day with the game just making characters. And as we've seen Christopher Odd do and Beagle Rush, you can take heroes from your previous XCOM game, recreate them in XCOM 2, and then add them to your character pool, and they can pop up as soldiers or maybe scientists. You know, they retired, or perhaps they've gone rogue. Although, from what I understand of dark VIPs, these are pretty much just civilian targets for you to capture or kill. So I'm not really. It's a shame you can't have like evil soldiers gone rogue with powers similar to your own. You know, like, we are very much alike, you and I. You know, that's sadly probably a mod waiting to happen, happily, actually. So, how does the character pool work? From what I understand, and I have not had any hands-on stuff, nor have I actually watched a video about it, and maybe that's my bad, but it seems pretty easy to conceptualize. You can make characters before you even play the game. You can just go in, customize characters, and then you can assign them some tags like, can they be scientists, can they be engineers, can they be VIPs, can they be dark VIPs, can they be soldiers. And then the game will pluck whenever it needs such a character from the list, and of course cross that name off the list once they've appeared once. You can have a lot of fun. From what I understand, you'll probably need a large list of randomly generated or of generated characters in your character pool before the game will let you. If you want to put all custom characters in, it might be like 200 characters or something, because the game wants to have plenty of slack when it comes to throwing, you know, customized characters at you. We saw the Ninja Turtles, Terminator, all sorts of cool things. Wesley Snipes, Blade, whatever. I think a really popular one that'll go viral is probably going to be a bunch of Nick Cage faces on different bodies and genders and attitudes. That would be my personal preference. Some of you should get on that right now and actually create like all of your favorite horrific Nicolas Cage amalgams, so that we can poison everyone's character pools. Just saying, you can totally get some spot on my YouTube channel if you want to do that. And then you can share with your friends, which is how you get these Nicolas Cages into all of their games accidentally. They'll be like, oh, who am I rescuing today? Oh, Sarah, Nicolas Cage, Connor. And since you can maybe you can provide nicknames to go with them. I don't know. Anyway, you can customize them just like you can customize your soldiers once you already have them. Of course, once you get one, you can then customize them again. You could save them in a new way back to your character pool. Any characters that show up during your game, you can save to the character pool. Anyone you know that you grow attached to over time that you weren't already pre-attached to, you can of course save. And yeah, so it seems like it'll be pretty easy to share around some awesome characters, and I'm kind of excited for it. Maybe one character will become known as the ultimate in each class. There could be face-offs, you know. So yeah, I think it's worth your time to take advantage of the character pool and make your game that much more personalized, and to look at some other people's ideas and take some of their hard pre-made work and enjoy it yourself, because it can be a lot of fun to see a really highly customized character pop up in your game. Note that if they become a scientist or an engineer, they will be wearing like lab coats and stuff when you VIP escort them, but then their headgear will be whatever you assigned. Like we saw, I think it was Raphael, a Ninja Turtle, who wore all orange and had like an orange, hijab, I think. And then when they generated in the Advent City Center with the extraction mission for Christopher Odd, he had a hijab and like a white lab coat, which was a little odd looking, but interesting. So add a little character to your game. Join the character pool. There is on Reddit on the Reddit XCOM subforum, there is a really involved way to share like characters with other Redditors so that everyone can access this master character pool, and you can say whether it's you or someone famous or someone cool that you've made up. It's really interesting. So the community is really getting into this, and I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with it.
Incoming transmission.
Day 23, Tactics Customization. So we're going to be talking all about character customization. Actually, I'm not going to talk all about character customization because there are so many options that I could spend more time talking about character customization than I have about any other single topic in the game. Suffice it to say that the number of colors you can select from, the number of things you can customize is incredible, and you can spend as much time as you want here. And these characters already look pretty sharp. With some tweaking, they can look amazing. You can also select attitudes, and you can name and color customize, even pattern customize weapons. I think what I'm gonna talk about most is why you should. And now, the classic XCOM mistake is to name soldiers after your family members. Trust me, you would probably rather they be scientists and doctors, engineers, unless you really want them to go out there and die, because it'll happen. Everyone has done this. Everyone will. We played Oregon Trail when we were kids, right? Or we weren't even kids. Whatever your age, we've all done it. We've been like, yeah, this will be great. I'll put myself in the game, and then you die, and you're like, oh, it just killed me. It might be tough, whatever. It depends on your familial relations. I wouldn't suggest making anyone from your family able to be a dark VIP, in which case you may have to assassinate them. Save that for your bosses. I don't know, anyone that you really want to put down in some horrific manner. Like, yeah, Bernie Sanders, I'm not saying which side of that you should be on, but if you do, we'll come hunt you down. And, whoever you hate, whoever you don't want to see. Nickelback, that would be a good one for anyone, right? Either way, I think customization is a good way to invest a bit in your soldiers, to take a break from the actual stress of playing the combat missions. Like, the stress on you isn't too bad if you're an experienced commander, but if you're new to the game, it can actually get fairly stressful, and you might just want to chill for just a second because there's no pressure. The clock isn't ticking, tactically or strategically, and it's all about making your game a little more personalized. Now, you're gonna care more about these customized soldiers, and I think that's a good thing, really, because not only does it help you get into the game, but it helps you think about what it would actually be like to be on that battlefield, and that can actually give you some decent tactical insights as to how I find actually that it helps me understand the AI a little bit better. When I actually care about my soldiers and I watch the AI thinking maybe they care too, suddenly I became a little bit better at predicting what they would do, like when the AI would break. Like, I had a sense of it before. You know, I was like, well, if I wipe out 80% of their squad, then the one remaining muton is going to run for it. But I don't know. I feel like something clicked when I devoted just a little bit of time to customizing everyone. Note that you can also, for practical purposes, name specific builds. You do get a nickname and a weapon name, as well as standard names. Somewhere in there, you can indicate what characters are good at. You know, are they Overwatch specialists? Are they frontline people? Are they back row? Whatever. I personally, when I do this, I liked to make my characters' nicknames actually their specialty. And so I'd have like the longbow, and that was the long range explosives expert. And then I had the Havoc, who was a suppression expert. I suggest you give yourself clues like this. I also had colors for every class, you know, so I knew what they were at a glance. Like, the primary color was always bright blue for rookies, and you know, dark purple for anyone who had psi powers. So consider that there are practical uses for your customization. And of course, making them look properly soldier-like can be a really big thing for some people, like a proper military gear. Also, I would say that the weapons look a lot more realistic in XCOM 2 than they did in XCOM 1. And that's going to really make some of the camo, or, you know, like the properly military colored items look really interesting. So there you go, guys. Remember that the weapons will have mods installed in them, and that these mods can be trashed, but they can't be reused. Like, you can throw them away and replace them, but you can't actually reuse a mod once you install it into a weapon. So it might be worth your while to name weapons in a way that indicates what mods are installed in them, or what the point of using them is, like the point blankerator, or, you know, the point blank your mom. I don't know, whatever you want to call your weapon. You know, just to help yourself understand more about the game at a glance. I found that pretty important, especially in Long War, where you had a much bigger barracks, and you didn't just have like 9 soldiers that got really, really strong. You had like 40, and they all had to be max level by the end of the game. So that would be my suggestion. Do customize, and kind of pick out what you can get out of customization. Is it role-playing? Is it artistic? Is it style? Is it that rebel feeling? You want to go for the guerrilla feel? Or are you playing a hardcore military strategy game and you want everyone to look appropriately paramilitary? And then go for it. You know what? Just spend a little time with the customization. It'll be worth your while. When someone goes down, I'm not going to say you'll cry, but...
Incoming transmission.
Day 23, disposition, getting your head in the game. So, XCOM, when played on lighter difficulties, is a kind of exploratory, casual experience. On the harder difficulties, it can be a brutal, hardcore, and possibly role-playing experience on top of either of those. So, if you're playing on a harder difficulty, you can easily make mistakes, especially if you're playing Iron Man mode. You can easily make mistakes if you jump into the game that you can't undo. If you're not prepared, if you're not thinking like you were when you left off. So I'm going to give you a couple suggestions about how to get your head in the game before you're actually playing the game. For one, I would suggest always having a cup of water nearby. Maybe a pre-flight ritual for yourself, another checklist to prevent human error from compromising your XCOM 2 gaming experience. I would suggest water, maybe a snack. You should probably finish out missions when you're playing, so you don't have to jump back into a tactical mission, because there's that's probably the ultimate way to lose track of Overwatch and be shot in the face, or to forget that there's an enemy that's out of your line of sight. And when you load up the game 23 hours later, you have no idea that that faceless is going to come charging out of the sun set and into your face. So my suggestion would be save after a mission, after you have begun doing something with the rewards from the mission. So like basically go on your mission, wrap it up, take the rewards you got and spend them or invest them into whatever, or lock those characters into a position in the Avenger. Take a look at everything you can possibly do. Do your what can I do assessment. Do a reality check, basically, like I illustrated in the last episode. And then save and exit your game once you have everything set up. That way you don't have to remember too much when you come back. You could be like, what was my next mission again? Yeah, this one looks good. And you don't have to think, oh, wait, I forgot, I was in between researches and I decided to save so I could ponder it when I got back, but I just spent 7 days scanning and I wasn't researching anything. You know what? Go ahead and make sure you're building everything you can. You're researching what you want to research. Everyone who's in the hospital needs to be in the hospital, or they go to the hospital automatically, but if you have an engineer, if you have wounded, then make sure you assign an engineer to the, it's not the hospital, it's the Guerrilla Tactics Center that allows you to use an engineer to reduce wounded time, whatever. If you have a lot of wounded, make sure you set that up beforehand and then save. I simply suggest that you begin at which mission do I go to? Where do I go on the strategic map? I think that's where you should pick up every time you load the game if you really want to make sure that your head is in the game by the time you hit the tactical game. On the other side, when it comes to role-playing and getting your head in the game, I suggest that, just like customization, this is worth a little bit of your time. I think there's a lot of... XCOM is a game where you can make a lot of your own story. There's a lot of plot that they don't write in. They do bare bones and let you fill in the rest. It's an empty vessel kind of game. And it can feel really hollow without any input from you. So I suggest doing just a little bit every now and then to try and sympathize with characters on the ground. Like look at that alien and think how shitty its short life is about to be because you're going to wreck it. Think about how much revenge, how much vengeful goodness your character got out of killing the same alien that killed his buddy last mission. How, everyone mutters about how you can't kill a goddamn viper with one shot or whatever. I think it's worth your time to put yourself a little bit into the world of XCOM 2 and into the boots of your soldiers so that the game isn't too empty, because the developers left a lot open and that's risky for them because it can make the game seem kind of hollow and boring. And of course they have some set characters like Shin and Taigen and John Bradford Central. And they can provide some, but they really can't fill the game up themselves. And so XCOM 2, the game experience relies a little bit on you putting a bit of yourself into it. It's one of the reasons to customize, it's one of the reasons to build a character pool, and it's another reason to reward your soldiers when they do well with seemingly useless visual upgrades and interesting nicknames. And sure, they'll develop on their own, but consider congratulating them. Maybe visit the Lost occasionally at the memorial. You can get in as far as you want, but I suggest you at least get your toes wet when it comes to role-playing a little bit, because XCOM 2 leaves you a lot of options to do this, and I think if you don't, you're going to miss out on a good bit of what the game has to offer. Plus, it can make those missions where things go awry or even turn out terribly really kind of formative for a playthrough, to make every playthrough different from the last. And of course, those characters can always come back in the next campaign if you really miss them. So that would be my suggestion. Do figure out a steady way to play the game so that you don't make any mistakes you don't need to. Have your coffee with you or whatever helps you focus, your tea ready when you sit down, and begin at the mission selection, where you can go wherever you want, you can do whatever you want, so that you don't have to remember too many things between sessions. And then I really do suggest that you try some of the roleplay experience that XCOM 2 has to offer. I think it'll be worth your time. So that's it for getting your head in the game. Alright friends, that's it for day 23. If you enjoyed this content, please go ahead and like this video. If you'd like to see the next Advent Calendar video as soon as it comes out, please subscribe to my channel. Tomorrow is the last day of this particular format of the Advent Calendar, and then we'll move into the special last 7 episodes. So expect a change up. Tomorrow we'll be talking about XCOM canon. That's not ordnance. That is what has actually happened according to official XCOM sources. And it could technically be a spoiler alert, so attend at your own risk. Thanks for listening. I'll see you then.